You know, Charles would be really good at coming up with a lame pun for this intro. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. As part of my coverage of the 2025 Sundance Film Festival, today I'm going to be talking about the 2025 comedy drama, The Ballad of Wallis Island, which will be released in theaters on March 28th. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content, like reviews, rank lists, and trailer reactions. All my reviews include a breakdown of the pros and cons, my rating, and even some tailored film recommendations, so be sure to watch through to the end of this video for all that extra content. The Ballad of Wallis Island stars Tim Key, Tom Basden, and Carey Mulligan, and was directed by James Griffiths. It tells the story of two folk musicians who reunite to play a private show for a millionaire on a remote island. I've never been much of a ballad person. In fact, they're always the songs I'm most likely to skip on any album. Give me something fast instead. Something interesting, something catchy or diverting. But every now and then, you need a break. Something more low-key and earnest and introspective. And so this movie is very appropriately named, because that's exactly what this film is, just in slightly unexpected form. It's nothing huge, nothing particularly new or inventive. It's a slight film, if ever there was one. Understated, but still managing to hit all the right notes. Folk music pervades this film, and it's got a folksy wholesomeness to it, but it's much more than that. It's full of tender, relatable, and poignant themes that'll affect you, but it's also unexpectedly funny in a quintessentially British humor kind of way. Above everything else, though, The Ballad of Wallis Island is just utterly charming. There are a few contributing factors to this film's success, but the writing is one of the biggest. It immediately throws us into a fun and offbeat premise with a lottery-winning superfan inviting his now broken up favorite musicians to a remote island in order to play a private show. Sounds like it could be the makings of a solid horror film, but this movie takes a charmingly comedic route instead. Really, this movie covers all of the understated comedic bases. There's loads of situational humor, comedy of error, fish out of water humor, awkward interactions, and silly misunderstandings. But there's also a lot of funny dialogue, too. Nothing here is written as laugh-out-loud jokes, but the screenplay is certainly smile-inducing. The character of Charles is especially entertaining, with his constant stream of rhymes, puns, and assorted interjections. All of this humor floats lightly on the surface, overtop the underlying, heartfelt, slightly melancholic story. It's a great blend that really works, without ever feeling like it's trying for something. The writing and dialogue are super important, but of equal importance here is the delivery of that dialogue. That's what truly sells it. This film is actually based on a 2007 short film by the same director, called The One and Only Herb Maguire Plays Wallis Island. Tom Basden returns to play Maguire here after 18 years, and nails that state of constant exasperated disbelief the character's in. Carey Mulligan as Nell, Herb's ex-bandmate and just plain ex, brings the right balance of warmth and calming acceptance to the situation. These two are both integral to the story and part of this fantastic trio, but this movie wouldn't have been remotely close to what it is without Tim Key as Charles. Also reprising his role from the short film, Key is so goofy and awkward here, but he's also so endearing. I'm not gonna lie, when this character was first introduced, I was very concerned that his whole shtick was gonna annoy me. And as a character that rarely shuts up, he definitely walks that line, but somehow never crossed into annoyance for me. Instead, acting as not only a consistent source of entertainment, but also the core of the story's heart and poignancy. There's a place for big laugh-out-loud comedies, heart-wrenching dramas, and all sorts of other types of films. But sometimes it's nice to just have a simple crowd-pleaser that has relatable things to say, but does so without ever being overbearing or forceful about them. The Ballad of Wallis Island is a story of nostalgia, about reconnection and the impact of music, but also about learning how to move on, about appreciating experiences and memories, but knowing and accepting that not everything is meant to work out or last. It's a bittersweet and moving film, but also an entertaining and immensely charming one. So I, for one, can't wait to take another trip back to Wallis Island. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. The biggest pro has got to be the screenplay. The writing here is just such a perfect blend of humor and heart. This is a genuinely emotionally resonant film, with very relatable themes about connection and learning how to move on, but it's also an incredibly funny movie thanks to its brilliant combination of situational humor and constantly flowing dialogue. There are so many gems of lines in this movie, many of which spoken by Tim Key, that it's definitely going to take multiple watches to catch and appreciate all of them. This leads me right into my second pro, Tim Key as Charles. The screenplay is important, but the delivery of those lines is just as important, and Key absolutely nails it. Really, I don't think this movie would work without him in this role. He's so goofy and so awkward, but he's got this undeniably endearing charm to him. This is a character that could have easily been unbearably annoying. When he was first introduced, I thought for sure that I was going to quickly grow to hate him, but it was actually quite the opposite. He grew on me, and I found him to be more and more entertaining and empathetic as the film went on. On the con side, my biggest issue is the pacing. So this movie is really pretty minimal. It's an understated and slight film by its very nature, and movies like this, especially ones adapted from short films, sometimes struggle with keeping everything moving. The humorous dialogue very effectively distracts here, as does the situational humor of the premise, but once everything's established, the film does fall into a bit of a repetitive lull. It's never bad, and it does manage to work its way out of it in time for the third act, but the story and some of the character moments probably could have been tightened up a bit in that middle section. Before I give you my rating and recommendations, I want to remind you that if you're interested in buying The Ballad of Wallis Island or any of the other films I mentioned today, I do have affiliate links for all of them in the description below. I get a small commission from anything you buy using one of my links, so I'd really appreciate it if you'd use them if you're in the market for any of these movies. I'm gonna give The Ballad of Wallis Island 3.5 out of 5 paws, though I suspect that might increase a bit on future rewatches. This is an understated film about finding connection through music and learning to move on from the past. The pacing drags a tiny bit in the midsection, but with a funny, emotionally resonant script and an endearingly goofy performance by Tim Key, this is bound to be one of the most charming movies of the year. I would recommend The Ballad of Wallis Island to anybody looking for an understated film that's both funny and heartfelt. Fans of dialogue-heavy British humor will probably get the most entertainment out of the screenplay, but there's enough situational humor here to appeal to just about anybody. And for any Tim Key fans out there, he is the star of the show here, so you're definitely not going to want to miss out on this one. If you liked The Ballad of Wallis Island, I would recommend Local Hero. This is another comedy drama about an outsider coming to a remote coastal village. The story is a bit more involved and a lot less musical, but this is loaded with similar fish-out-of-water situational humor and unexpected emotional resonance. If you liked the screenplay and want another movie with a character somewhat reminiscent of Charles, you should watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. This Thanksgiving classic stars Steve Martin and John Candy as two mismatched men trying to make it to Chicago for the holiday. It's a much more overtly comedic film, but Candy's Dell is very similar to Charles, right down to the name of his wife. And if you liked the music centricity and tone, you might want to watch Once. Really, you could choose any number of John Carney films and get the same type of vibe, but this one focuses on two collaborating musicians and shares in some of the same poignant relationship themes. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen The Ballad of Wallis Island? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, what band or artist would you invite to play a private island show? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information on this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe or add it to see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainly Movies, the way life should be.